Thompson is Bobby Fulton. Your buddy Thompson there. I just want to let you know, I tried to tell Dylan what a little bit low down piece of shit you was from the get-go. But we found out again and again and again. You're fucking banned permanently from any fucking shows. I see you around, it will be a fucking problem. You feel me? I hope you do. You're nothing but a fucking thief. Come around those shows, try to steal autographs and shit. You're a low-life, egg-sucking, cock-sucking motherfucker, and that comes straight out of the Bible. You feel me? Goodbye. You come around, it will be a sad day for you, fuckhead.
Sir?
Ah.
Manscaping?
Uh-huh.
You know, have you tried the new equipment that's been sent?
I'm afraid because it says weed whacker. I'm scared.
Maven, Manscaped, what are you thinking about
Love it.
Manscaped, dude?
Love it.
What do you use it for?
Necessity. What don't I use it for? Put it this way. The only hair I have on my entire body is these eyebrows.
Yeah.
That you see. These caterpillars racing to the middle of my nose. That's it.
That is it.
That's all I have. And that's all I want.
That's the
So Manscaped is a
You-
must.
We were talking before the show. There's nothing worse than just hair.
Yeah.
Right? Hair on a woman, hair on a man. It's just bad.
Absolutely. And it's the one thing that the older I get, it starts growing more in unwanted areas.
Absolutely.
I hate it.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Uh-oh.
Just going to go out there.
Oh, boy.
Go for it.
You're doing a deed.
Yes.
Again, I don't want you to have to admit this because we, as men, we try not to admit this. But if you're going to go do the deed on a woman,
I know where
would you
he's
rather
going.
have her be hairless or a little hair, racing stripe, or
Racing stripe.
full retro bush?
Racing stripe.
Retro Bush is out.
Yes, thank you.
Retro Bush is out.
Yeah.
I don't mind a small, well-manicured landing strip. Every now and then, if it's completely, and I'm talking like baby's ass bald, then I start, where is that pedophilia line? I don't want to wander into that.
That's
thought
very
of it like
interesting.
that.
I never thought about that. You're a
Wow.
smart dude. Holy shit.
So if the landing strip is clean enough for the plane to go in smoothly, you're cool with that?
If the landing strip has, like I said, well manicured,
Yeah,
you can see both sides. It's not
Like blinking lights on both sides of that
I
landing?
just don't. I don't want. I don't want the shrubbery going off into unwanted areas on that as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Oh, look
but-
what you found. Ooh.
I got to be all honest though. Hey, the older I get though, I don't think I can be as
I found it! I found
have
it!
you ever gone down there and she slowly brings down the underwear? Then
What is
retro? Just,
Absolutely.
You're like, whoa!
Wow,
Yeah, I'm
like
46,
it
of
pops
course.
out?
Do you like walk out or what do you do?
No, I muster through. I muster up the courage to get
He's a
through.
trooper. He's a trooper. Gotta give him an A.
Not all heroes wear capes.
Yeah,
There you go.
I hear you.
There you
Listen,
go.
I couldn't
Super
say.
Bush.
I couldn't say. Well, if you have the same beliefs as Maven, does Manscaped could help you?
Absolutely.
The weed whacker.
Absolutely.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that I may have to, go in a room, close the door, and hang out with the weed whacker for a little while.
Yeah, I think you're a retro guy, aren't you?
I like 70s adult films, if that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
But
only
with that,
Ron
we're going to take a
Jeremy,
quick
Batman.
commercial break, and we'll be back with this wrestling icon, Maven.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh, seen only here, straight out of the Monte Cave because our studio is still under renovations. Jimmy, straight out of Wahoo Saloon. Are you ready for tonight's show, my friend?
Am I ready? I've been ready. Let's do it.
Well, let's introduce him. WWE Hall of Famer, ECW legend, the great Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam, thank you, sir, for joining us on this wonderful Thursday night.
Very glad to be here, and I have with me Barbie. She doesn't like to be ignored.
Hello,
Barbie, what up?
Barbie.
What's up, Barbie?
Yeah.
What are the origins of Barbie's name?
Katie named her. Boom. Good story, huh? And then here is Lovey. The origin of Lovey's name is actually, believe it or not,
Lovey.
same story. Katie named her.
Just Katie named her, and that is all.
Sure.
That's how easy it becomes. Dog or cat person, Rob?
Dog. I love dogs, and cats are really cool now. I've just never been around them my whole life. I used to be allergic to them as a kid. I would imagine I might still be to certain kinds, but I don't seem nearly as sensitive as when I was a kid, and my eyes would get all swollen up and I get hives and itch. And but I think they're really cool, and I wouldn't mind having one just because they're so. I love how they go places that no one else goes. Lovey does that. Like she'll be like walking inside cupboards and shit. Like I never thought of going in there, like
Right.
that. Cats are cool in that way, but we have a doggy door, and so the cat would be gone.
I hear you. My wife used to volunteer at a shelter, and she'd always bring home dogs. We had 5 at one point, but we always had small dogs like the ones you have. We now have like a pit bull, pretty large size pit bull, and I got to tell you, best dog I ever had in my life. But I'm certainly a dog person too. Grew up with cats, but I haven't had a cat in God knows how long, 30, 40 years, I think. Jimmy, you're a cat guy though, right?
At heart, I'm a cat guy, but I've got dogs too. I love them both. They both have their own special qualities. What I love about cats is their independence and their survival ability. When there's a stray dog, that stray dog is taken off the streets one way or the other. But there are so many stray cats, and living here in Panama City Beach and having our first snowfall in 36 years recently, I watched those cats survive. I was worried about those cats, and somehow they would find a spot. And keep in mind, these cats have never seen snow, just like a lot of people living here who are younger have never seen snow. 36 years, and all of a sudden last week there's 5 inches of snow. So I'm watching the survival of these cats, and I love cats. I love dogs. I've got 2 pit bulls myself. One almost broke my nose, as Mike knows. A couple of weeks ago by accident.
Mike knows about your nose.
Oh man, does he know about my nose? He left forward and the top of his skull hit my nose. I was bleeding for like hours. I'm like, oh my God, what did you do to me?
Well, for the conversation, I don't limit it to dogs or cats. We were in Florida just a few days ago. I think the other coast there, but we went to Adventures Animal Park. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. We got to play with otters and petting a tree sloth. They're so cool. And kangaroos, baby kangaroos, monkeys.
Nice.
All kinds of stuff. So
Nice.
I highly recommend it if anyone is an animal lover as much as us. It's really educational. You learn so much. It's like every time I go to a zoo and I get like a VIP tour because I'm RVD, I'm fascinated by the stuff I pull out of there that you just don't know. How would you know?
Yeah.
How is it for you?
Coppers have to eat their own poop to survive. How would you know that?
No, would not know.
No. But
Wow.
I think possums are cute when they're babies. What do I know?
Everyone's cute when they're a baby, huh?
Yeah,
True.
that's for sure. Jimmy, you were cute when you were a baby there. So, there you go.
Oh, I was adorable. I had Robert Redford blonde hair, too.
So, Rob, before we get into the main subjects, we got a lot to talk about. I wanted to ask you, how's your podcast doing? How do you like doing it?
Yeah.
It's cool. It doesn't, it's really just my platform for me to do whatever I want. So sometimes, when people say, why don't you do, like Mayman's doing or whatever, he's getting killer views and he knows what he's doing, and that's great for him. But I'm not looking to fit into, a position that's already there. This is just my platform. So I don't know. I don't blame anybody that wants to see me talk or anybody that does want to, but I do enjoy it. I get a lot of really positive feedback. A lot of my fans also, besides liking my achievements in the world of pro wrestling, they also, a lot of my fans like my perspective, my RVDology, and I like to share the values that I have learned throughout my whole life, because I've been alive for like hundreds of years, it seems, and I've learned a lot. And I can always look back and feel like I've grown so much since then. A lot of times I'm almost embarrassed at how I was 5 years ago. Like, oh my God, how could you stand me? And that's because I'm always fine tuning and I'm learning to grow in ways that, that's part of growing, is looking back at a lesser self. But anyway, I share ideology on there, that I give my insights, and that's a big part of the show, besides my one-of-a-kind perspective on any questions that my host, Dominic, will ask me.
Now, how did you find Dominic? How does that work? What, did he just
He
reach
found
out
me.
to you?
Yeah, he found me, and we were doing it on my YouTube page, and then I got like two people. The one guy that was already working on my YouTube page, and now Dominic hosting the podcast that we're airing, and it was hard getting them two to click. So I let Dominic open up his own page to put it on it, and then YouTube demonetized me for having the same video on two things, and so now I don't show it currently on my podcast, but I might just change it, comment on it, or something. In which case, some of the footage might be on it. I think it's important. Like, for instance, my message about the Hines crime family that I did on the podcast, I got to put that one on my YouTube page as well. But overall, just like most things, I dab at it. I dab at things, and people have a hard time understanding what it's like to not feel desperate to have to throw yourself 1,000% into anything,
Yeah.
And I do have a lot of failed projects because of that. Yeah, I'll try the CBD company. Oh, those guys are crooks. Okay. And I'll try the comic book store, and okay, that didn't work out. I don't have the golden touch. That's because I do take a lot of risks, and I do trust a lot of people too much.
Right.
But a lot of that is those are just my values. I try not to let being burnt make me a different person.
Well, let's speak about trust. So the reason we asked you on the show was we saw one of your episodes about the Hines crime family. Obviously, we're not on the inside. We know the Hines family just through a few dealings. I think Jimmy, we used Dylan one time for Abdul the Butcher, which ended up being an okay interview, but it was quite a mess, right? So
Quite a mess.
Quite
a mess. Am I allowed to quickly rehash what our, first and only impression of Dylan was, and what my initial gut read was, if I can?
Go ahead.
We had booked Abdul the Butcher very on in our YouTube career, and Abby showed up alone, and of course Abby is, obviously physically at this point very compromised, wheelchair situation, et cetera, and he's driven in, and I'm like, where the hell is Dylan? Where the hell's your agent? And Abby said to me, he went home. He just left me here. And I remember looking at Mike, and I'm like, is this for real? And the interview with Abby went great and everything, but I couldn't get it out of my mind that somebody would abandon when they're representing them on a business venture. For God's sakes, you're being paid and everything. There's a lot of money involved here and a lot of responsibility. What do you mean he went home? I don't care what the situation is for the most part, unless somebody had been murdered or something and you had to suddenly bolt. Why is Abby being left alone? And the worst part was for me, and Mike knows the story, Abby got his ride to come pick him up. And he turned to me and he's like, do you have any money possibly you could give me? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm the guy who, is like wondering if I can buy a number 5 combo at McDonald's this week. And I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, Abby, I can't help you. And I remember physically helping him into the car because, Dylan's not there. He left Abdul the Butcher alone. And I remember as I'm putting him in the car, I thought to myself, if he falls backwards, I'm dead. I'm flat as a pancake. And this is a sad situation. So I'm sorry, Mike. I had to get that in. That was my first impression of him. And I was like, Mike, this guy's a piece of shit.
Well,
I used to monkey flip him, for the record.
Did you really?
Yes, sir, in Japan.
Wow, crazy! Jesus Christ. So
yeah, I'm not surprised. I have a plethora of stories that everyone has shared with me over the last week or two since the Hines crime family decided to fire away at me.
Well, so let's ask some of these questions, and please elaborate. Go into all your stories again. Our dealings with Dylan Hines are very nominal. Our dealings with his father are very little. I will tell you, we've been cursed out by both of them once or twice. And the most recent was Dylan wanted to have a podcast on the channel. We said, sure, right? Because we're all about building the channel, different types of shows. The only thing is I need dedication because we do sell sponsors here. We do generate money off not just YouTube, but off of all of social media. Seen on New York cable by 150,000 people a year, cheap plug. So anyway, Dylan, again, was irresponsible and did not do the show as recorded. And I decided to separate from him according to that. That is my only dealings. But being your Rob Van Dam, we see you on a show, and then we start to hear all this stuff that you're being taken advantage of. Now, I've seen him bring you into many events. So I'm just going to start with some basic questions because if you don't know, Dylan Hines has made sure that he's been on every podcast that would have him. I don't know how many people listening to it, have no clue, but let's start here.
Can I just spit out this piece of logic for everyone listening to agree upon? Anybody that has beef with so many different random people and don't realize they're the common denominator, they're the problem. In my world, in my bubble, there's not that many people I don't get along with. Tell me, I've been wrestling 35 years. Tell me how many guys do you know about in the business that I just can't be, I have beef with them. Anybody? I mean, it would take me a long time to try to think of somebody. And if it was something from years ago, I'm probably over it. But anyway, in their world, they think everybody beefs with everybody. They're so damn vindictive and so retaliatory that they don't give a fuck about the truth. They just want to attack anybody that doesn't fall into their narrative. So I just want to say they have beef with so many different people that it's pretty obvious to me where the problem lies.
Well, usually what they say, when there's smoke, there's fire. But let me ask you something.
But Dildo's on here saying, well, this is thing about Sabu. So with that one, he's got addiction problems. Oh, with Rob, he's out for himself. Who? Oh, with that one, and he goes through and I mean, everybody knows that the guy is, in every way challenged. So it's not a big wonder about the kid. Although he is rotten to the core. Anyone listening, including you guys, is there anybody that's ever met Dildo Hines that can't see him as a future mass shooter at fucking Chillicothe High School?
Well, let's just start here. Is Dylan Hines on the spectrum, in your opinion?
Obviously, if I understand what you're asking, he's special. And I gave him a lot of patience because of that. And I've been working for them for, I don't know, like how many months out of the last 2 years, but a lot of shows, everything was cool, like till the end. Although I saw the beefs, way back when we started, when cousin Luke said, Bushwhacker Luke said, he's not going to work for the Fultons anymore. I'm like, well, that's weird. I haven't had any problems with them. And I advise anybody, if you don't have any problems and you're getting paid, get that money. That's why I would never tell anybody, to pull back. But they're so vindictive, they actually canceled Sabu and Fonzie and told them, well, I just assumed you wouldn't want to do it because Rob's upset at us. Fuck no. I think everyone should take their money. I would never tell people not to work for them, but I would warn them there's a good chance you won't get paid. You'll be getting lied to. And anyway, everything was all cool until until the very end. And I don't even know how I got on Bobby's shit list.
Well, let's start from the beginning. How do you end up getting involved in business with the Hines family?
That is a good question. I don't remember. So he's never been like an exclusive agent, the son or the dad. I work for a lot of different people. Some of them, I don't even remember their names. They got to email me and say, hey, dude, you worked for me last year. It happens all the time. I work for, I don't know how many, but a number of different people in between the Fulton shots, you know. So somewhere along the line, I guess they asked me what my fee is. I told them, and they said, okay, cool, started booking me. And then I got my fee every single time until I didn't get it. And then I think because I said something about it on my podcast, and things were still friendly at this time, even though Bad Business Bobby tries to make the conversation sound like it was heated, and that he was saying that Rob's saying, I won't lose. It's not for me to lose. It's for the promoters to lose money. And Bobby's like, well, then we can't use you. That's not how it went at all. And by the way, one of the things that Bobby says, everything he says is ridiculous. There's so much to talk about. So I don't know if you want me to stay in my lane. I just want to make sure we cover everything. Bobby's like, he might be senile, or he's going to claim he's senile. But like, one of the things that he put out on a message is he says that I have the dates wrong. Have you seen that message? I have the dates wrong, and he has proof. Here's the thing about that. I have never, ever mentioned a date. So anyway, I will now, because I went and looked. And so here's the deal. Dildo fucked me WrestleMania weekend at WrestleCon, all right? We had, 6, 7 things booked. I had a couple things booked that wasn't with them, plus their signing and a match and an appearance at the casino, maybe something else. When it came to pay me, I was like, whoa, that was without, we added this onto it. No, we didn't. So anyway, that was on Dildo. But the dad, after I finally proved it with text messages and with the guy from the casino sending me his messages of when they made their deal and even talked to each other, finally Bobby says, well, how about if I pay you like a little bit, like over the next 5 shows? And I was like, I'm not going to want to work with Dildo again. And he said, that's fine. He won't be there. It'll just be you and me. And I said, okay. Everyone knows when WrestleMania week was. But on June 22nd.
Wait, Rob, real quick. Did you say to Bobby, did you call his son Dildo to Bobby, or what?
No, that's a new nickname. I
just had to ask.
That's a new nickname he earned like a week ago or so.
And just to be very clear to the folks out there, this is not just about Dildo Hines. This is about the father. This is about both.
Bobby has a lot of people fooled into thinking he's actually a good guy and that the problem is just his asshole son. But that's not the case. And he had me fooled too. At the very end, here's what happened. On June 22nd in Mississippi, we're all leaving the convention to go get some food and get a hotel. Bobby was still cool at this time. He'd treat us to dinner. When I say us, me and Katie were there. And he and his wife / girlfriend Christy were all in a van, the 4 of us. And Bobby says, we got to come up with something different. I'm losing money lately, and I can't keep losing money. And I said, well, just quit booking me. Boom, I got your problem solved. And I said, I'm not going to do a split or anything. I don't work with that. And I said, I don't take a risk with the promoters. I just work with my guarantee, and no problem canceling the rest of the schedule, And that's what he twisted around. It's not for me to lose. It's for the promoters to lose. Anyway, the way that I said it is the way that I say it every time. Whenever I'm dealing with a promoter, I always just say, I don't take the risk with the promoter. I just work off a guarantee. If you got a show big enough, cool. If not, I'd rather be home anyway. There's no one in the business that's going to tell you that I'm hungry for work and that I'm out there trying to get booked. So their rhetoric that I'm upset missing their money and missing, the shows, it doesn't even make sense. Nothing that they say makes sense, including Bobby put his own phone number out. And then when I reposted it, he said, oh, Rob put my number out. Here's his. Call Rob. And then he put my number out. That is, if you ever heard of anybody in the wrestling business that's planning on staying in the wrestling business, giving phone numbers out of wrestlers. He did it to Matt Riddle. He did it to me. I've never heard of it. And Bobby, you're done. I'm kicking you out of the business. I'm putting you on the shelf if you don't understand. I have so many messages from so many people that you fucked over, and I'm going to wait until Bobby scams another sponsor into giving him some money and starts thinking he's doing another show, and then I'm going to start releasing the better stuff. I thought about plastering it all over on this special Hines Crime Family episode. It's not the way to do it. He needs to stay gone, because here's what happened, okay? We had that conversation June 22nd. Bro, I'll just cancel the rest of the year. That's cool. No. I don't want to do that. But I'm going to be selective. He's going to be selective. Okay, I'm only going to bring you on shows where I can pay you. Okay, cool. So I leave there. I go to Buffalo, work for a different promoter. Go to Montreal, work for a different promoter. Go to Albany, work for a different promoter, you know. And then he decides, and also on the 23rd, he shorts me my pay. He says, you know, I owe you for that other one, right? From Philly? Well, I'm going to owe you a little bit for today, too. But I'll pay next time, you know, I know WrestleCon's going to be good, so I'm going to pay you then. And so at WrestleCon, August 23rd is the next booking, and that's in Cleveland. And when about an hour before the show ends, he comes over and says, hey, here's what you brought in. I don't have the rest of your money. I don't have it. I'm done. I quit the business. I lost too much money. I said, and we're still at this point, we're still friendly. You know what I mean? We haven't even argued. I don't know when I got on this shit list, but at this point, I was like, you know, insulted and offended. Like, bro, you owe me money for the work that I did. You hired me. Now all of a sudden, you what? I quit. I'm done. I quit. Then he's spitting all over me. You know how he does. And so anyway, he tells me he quits. And, you know, what can I do? He gave me the rest of the RVD Funko Pops to sell. We made like another $1,000 or something to put towards whatever. We left. Even Elijah, you know, we were talking with the guy that cooks, a really nice guy. Don't want to bring his name into this because, you know, they love doing the shows there. But he was saying that he wasn't planning on getting paid from Bobby. And Elijah, who I don't even know if he got paid or not, reached into his pocket and pulled out his own fucking money and paid that cook that was driving us around, man. And that meant a lot to me. I'll always remember Elijah did that, you know. But also, like, that guy is so cool, such family. He's always cool to hang out with. And you know, he's got stories, too, because he's worked with the Fultons a long time. Anyway, guess what? He didn't quit. He's still running shows as if he didn't tell me, I quit, I'm done. So I'm going to make sure you quit, Bobby. So not a lot of people, but there's some people that will comment and say, Rob, you're above this, man. Nobody believes him. Listen, I'm not above calling somebody out that's trying to ruin my reputation, rip off the industry, and keep moving forward doing the same thing, setting up more scams. I'm totally not above doing that. Fuck no. That's exactly what I'm going to do is call them out.
At the end of the day, and it's always been consistent from the vibe I get from you, it's about respect for the business and the right thing. And when you stand up, you're not just standing up for yourself, you're standing up for the boys. So it's double fold to me.
Everyone. I mean, I got so many. Most of the messages I got on all kinds of platforms of social media say thank you so much for standing up, and they go on to share their story of whether they tried to order something in the mail and got fucked over, or whether they actually worked with them in person. And there's so many stories. Like these guys are really bad people. Imagine this, okay? You want to hire somebody, you know, and you ask this person, hey, how much would you charge me to wear this sandwich board sign that says Reverend Bobby Fulton 316 RIP? And he says, the guy says $500. Cool. Stand on the corner for a day. I'm going to give you $500. It works out. Boom. I got a bunch of corners I want you to stand on, you know, boom, boom, boom. 30 corners later, $500, he's paying his rate. All of a sudden, after the guy's done working, he gives him $200. I'll give her the next week, right? And then the next time you see the guy shorts him again, it says, I don't have your money. And here's where it gets offensive to me on a personal level. When the guy with the sandwich board sign says, hey, this guy shorted me on money, he says you're lying. How fucking dare you, Bobby Fulton? You piece of shit. You rob, you fucking steal, you lie, you cheat, you can go to hell. And that really is in the Bible. You feel me? I hope you do. Fucking asshole.
Let me ask you this. Dylan on a recent podcast claims that when Katie travels with you, that you have run up $800 worth of bar bills. Katie has a very expensive appetite at restaurants. Again, I don't know what restaurant you can order food for $800. I'm just quoting what he said. And then at particular points that a lot of the promoters did not want Katie there because of, I guess, Katie being too provocative. What's your response to this?
Yeah, if you want to know what that was about, one of the appearances that Dildo had me booked at WrestleMania weekend was at a casino in Philadelphia, right? He booked it. As soon as I got there, the guy that managed or middleman the booking from the casino right away comes up and tells me what an asshole Dildo was to work with. And he wants to make sure that I know he got 50% commission. I'm like, that motherfucker. But all right. I mean, I got my deal for the week that he's going to pay me. Little did I know he was going to fuck me on that. But anyway, where we did a appearance, took a bunch of pictures at a table. There's a bar. We had some champagnes. And then that was pre-show before WrestleMania. A lot of people were there. I think it was free for the people. So it was a pretty cool thing for them because they had to pay a lot of money at WrestleCon, at the table. So anyway, after that period was over because WrestleMania was starting, we moved the party down to the screen. And while we were there, Dildo passed out. I think he threw up. And the guy that manages the booking that I talked about, he said that Dildo knew that the front part of the bar where we were signing was covered, and he says that Dildo knew when we go to the back that's not covered, that's on him, and he says that he left on an $800 bar tab, and that's what Dildo's talking about.
Gotcha.
The guy from Casino says the Dildo knew, and he brought everybody back there, and then he was passed out, and I don't know. Let me explain something also on a personal level. I talked about RVDology, right? I told Bobby one time, I said, I'm the most honest person that I know, and I am. And Bobby said, "Me too." Me too. And he's not, but I really am. And I don't expect everybody listening to believe me when I say this, but I don't lie. And I'm sure there's an exception, but I don't know what it would be. I mean, I used to think I would lie if it was for my freedom, like, oh, no, officer, I didn't do that. I don't know. But now I know I wouldn't even answer it. I wouldn't incriminate myself. I would choose not to answer. And I don't lie. I don't believe in lying because I love history. I have such respect for the history that we're leaving and living right now. That's why I hate liars, because they're twisting tomorrow's history to fit their narrative, and it's not the way it happened at all. And anyway, I don't expect a lot of people to believe me when I say I don't lie, and here's why. Because you only know the values that are in your bubble, all right? If you don't have a lot of honesty in your bubble, you don't think it's out there. A lot of people go, well, as soon as someone tells you they're being honest, they're lying to you. A lot of people do believe that, and I get it. I'm in a business where my peers in general cheat on their spouses that are at home. Always have. And hey, if you're dreaming of that's part of your dream to live the rock and roll lifestyle and to be banging rats out on the road while your wife is home with the kids and doesn't even know the real you, I'm not about that. I was with the wrong person for 18 years. Guess how many stories there are of me cheating on her? Everybody come forward. I'll give you each $1,000. Zero. Nobody. Because I wanted to respect myself. It wasn't that she deserved it. I believed in my self-respect. That's one of the qualities that's important to me. Not everybody, and I get that. But to me, being honest is very, very important. Everyone can come forward right now that I've lied to, and I'll give you $50. I'll PayPal it to you. There ain't going to be anybody.
Rob, let me ask you a quick question.
Hold on, a little bit more. I tell jokes. I suspend the truth for a second. You know, way back when in the early 90s, when Rod Slinker named me Rob Van Dam in 91, he told me to tell people I was Jean-Claude Van Damme's cousin. And when you start out in the wrestling business, you do what you're told to get your gimmick over and stuff. But, bro, I outgrew that years ago. And so now for someone like Bobby to just think that just like everyone else that he's already done this to, he can just call me bullshit. Bro, when I take bookings to wrestle, I get 100% up front. If something fucks up, I send it to him. I told Zombie Sailor I would do a action figure, and then Mattel told me I couldn't. I sent him his money back. That guy in Kentucky, I took a booking, and then Bobby said, no, I really would like it if you didn't take it. Like, these guys, they always try and hurt us, and I don't know why. Because it's one of the many people that he beefs with. He had me cancel that. I had to send them the money because otherwise Bobby was going to have a real problem with me working with the opposition. He's so bitter and retaliatory, so he thinks everyone's like that. When I met Katie, she thought all men cheat. Guess what? Now she knows better.
Yeah. Well, look.
Time for more than just my moves.
But let me ask you this question then, right? So obviously you have a pretty high moral standard, especially when it comes to treating, your better half and other women. So again, we're not in it, but we hear the rumors around, and I'm sure that you've been around them. Then how did you feel when you heard rumors about this vendor having an affair with another vendor's wife?
You talking about dildo?
That is correct, sir.
Scumbag, quit bragging. He thinks he's so cool, talking he kissed a girl for the first fucking time. Oh, good for you. Every time. And, I don't want to bring them in. I understand they're like nice couple but I don't know, anyway, they're part of it. But I'm not, just to answer your question, me or Katie would always ask, like, what about this? Because he was brag, going to, and he would always be going there after conventions in between, you going back home to hell, where the fuck you came from? And no, I'm going to New York to Staten Island. And anyway, we would always say, what about the husband? You say she's married. Does the husband know, and is he cool with it or whatever? He never would answer us. He'd go, I don't know. And he had this really awkward laugh that he would do. And when he thought,
Rob, I gotta just throw this in. When you're considering who is the source of this allegedness anyway?
Dildo is my only source.
Okay, so here's the deal then. So if the source is dildo, then case dismissed, and who gives a fuck? Because you probably make up shit all the time and you're a liar.
Sure. Could be.
So basically, case dismissed and fuck off. That's my personal opinion, and that's how I feel about that.
Hey, that holds a lot of logic to it.
Okay, thank you. Mike?
Well, it's fair enough, Jimmy. Again, we don't know. We only hear the stories behind all these vendors because, Rob, you're around it all the time, right? A lot of them will cut each other's throats on a regular basis. For example, vendors pay a lot of money for a Rob Van Dam to come do a show for them.
Yes,
Rob
sir.
Van Dam signs a plethora of autographs.
Yes, sir.
And then hypothetically, Rob Van Dam passes away.
Ugh.
There seems to be an issue, Rob, that if a wrestler will pass away, that you're not allowed to sell their autograph because then you're just taking advantage of the situation. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way at all. If the autograph is legit, then, too legit to quit. That's what I think. It doesn't make sense to me. Like whenever people that aren't famous think that celebrities want privacy, half the time I think they're wrong. From a firsthand perspective, I think I wouldn't want that. One of the times would be like if in passing, like sometimes whether it's articles or whether it's like too many people showing up at the funeral, fans, whatever, and they're like, just let them rest, would you? I think for somebody that's in the celebrity field, where a lot of their business and their goals are to grow their fan base, I think they wouldn't want everyone to just forget about them as soon as they die. They'd want the business and to keep continuing on with their name attached, and they'd want to be, if not relevant, at least, remembered and mentioned. That's my opinion.
And that's the right opinion. Now, I ask you the polar opposite. How do you feel about when it's not a legit autograph? Because I've worked in collectibles for years. Mike has his own collectible love. We all do, And how do you feel about when they sell not legit? Because personally, to me, that's evil.
It is, yeah, there's no justifying that. There's no way to justify that whatsoever. Scummy.
Do you think this dildo, he's been also accused for selling falsified autographs? Have you heard anything about that?
I've heard about it, it's all hearsay but I mean, yeah, I've got a lot of messages saying, hey, I ordered some Lex Luger pictures and I know they were fake. And someone said he did it on some Sting ones, I think. Obviously I can't verify that. It is one of the several accusations that's mentioned by a lot of different people. So knowing that they don't have respect for the business that they're in, I could see them doing it. And that's even, just the autograph business. If you have respect for that and that's your world, you don't do shit like that, like fraudulent autographs. And if you have respect for the wrestling business, you don't put your everyday challenge son in wrestling tights and throw him in the ring and say, that's good for the business. I mean, that's what I knew. Bobby didn't give a shit about the business. And now you're done, Bobby. Done.
Rob, it seems like you have a lot more hate for Bobby than you do Dylan, right?
Yeah, because you know what? It started just like with everybody. It started with Dildo, but he's so dumb, I mean, he's seriously like, Rob, are you my friend? Are you my friend? I mean, he's literally that. That's an actual conversation. Are you my friend? Come on. He's that. Okay.
Wow, so that's not good.
I'm just saying, I can kind of say, well, that explains itself. Okay. He's a rotten seed. He's a rotten seed, but the demon didn't fall far from the scarecrow.
Rob, appease me. I'm going to play you a quick video from a guest we had on about 2 years ago where she talks about Bobby Fulton. Now, again, this is purely the guest's story, but I'd like you to weigh in on it after this video plays, okay?
Sure.
Up, and I was laying on a bathroom floor, and I know that he had come in with one of the other girls, and obviously something didn't work out. And the next thing I knew, he was, tilting my face and jacking on my face, and I couldn't move. There was nothing I could do, but I seen that it was him. So regardless of how he wants to try to defend himself now, when I go at him on social media, only God knows how many people he probably did that to, and whether or not you remember it, I remember it fucking so crystal clear. It's like yesterday.
Angel, what'd you think of that, Rob?
Disgusting. And she's talking about Dildo?
No, she is not. She's talking about the others. The other
dad.
One.
The dad?
The dad, yes.
Wow. I'm telling you, man, he's got a lot of people fooled. He is not a good person.
Isn't that fantastic?
Oh, my God. That is fantastic.
I had to.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Wow. These are really bad people. So
let me ask you this, Rob. Kevin Nash also has a podcast, and I love all your guys' podcasts. But Nash, Dylan's name came up recently, and Nash said he never had a problem with Dylan. Why would that be the case, being that he screwed so many people over?
Well, I never had a problem with him until I had a problem with him.
Yeah, simple.
That's all. You've heard the big list of people that do have a problem with him.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So eventually he'll fuck Nash over, and then Nash won't, will quit sticking up for him. That's what happened, as I understand it, to Ricky Morton a couple of weeks ago. He was sticking up for him, said I never had no problem, and then I heard that he got fucked over, so he left with his son. From what I was told.
Understood.
And that's the answer, though, is that, hey, until I had a problem, even though like Devon, a bunch of guys would say, how can you stand working with that motherfucker? And I'd be like, I ain't had a problem with him. So I don't blame Kevin. Keep taking his money as long as you can. But I'm telling you, Bobby's done with the business. I'm not saying you can't find someone to give you space at a table to sell your RVD Funko Pops. Bad business. But you pop up trying to run another scam, you're done. You're done, bro. I'm going to bury you with stories. And I'm going to send them to your sponsor. I'm going to send them to the news station in your own fucking town where you used to be a janitor at the high school.
Lion King.
Do you think
Nice.
think it's just that they were just out of money, but they just couldn't stop being involved in the business?
No, I think they made some bad decisions, really. You know what? When I say I don't take the risk with the promoter, that's because you got to have your money up front for me. I made an exception for Bobby because I used to wrestle him in like 93, 94, whatever. And, I had respect for him all the way until he accused me of being full of shit. Even after he shorted me in Mississippi and then again in Cleveland, I still was like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to hit him. I respect him kind of. But then once he started saying that I'm making it up, and then he just turned into attack mode. You know what I mean? And put my phone number out there. He puts talent's phone numbers out there. Kevin Nash, do you want Bobby putting your phone number out there? Because as soon as you say or do anything, as soon as you hit like on one of his competitors' posts, you're done. You know that Bible rant, that sermon that Bobby was giving us?
Yeah, I was trying to figure that one out. Explain that.
That's him yelling at Mike Thompson because Mike Thompson reposted a poster. He posted a poster from a different show that Bobby thinks is out to get him. So that's the kind of person that Bobby is. I have the actual text message where Bobby says, Mike, please take that down. I shouldn't have done it. I can send it to you if you want to see it. And Mike says, absolutely not.
We've experienced it. We understand.
I want everyone to know what kind of person you are. That was his response. He was like, okay, oh well, I guess we had good days and bad days.
Well, let me ask you this. We're all about forgiveness. Is there anything the Fultons can do to have Rob Van Dam forgive them?
Bobby can quit the business, stick his head in the hole like an ostrich, like Dildo supposedly did. They can both fuck off. And you know what? I would find it in my heart to lay off a little bit. Although anytime they come up, I would be giving my honest opinion on them. But I wouldn't be proactive to chase Bobby out of the business like I am now if I know that he realizes he's fucking done.
It's not much more to say than that, Rob.
Yeah.
It's your point is taken, and I think it's really important that you came out tonight and really let loose and told the story because, buyer beware at this point. These guys have been fucking people over for a long time. I'll share a quick story.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be an event for Captain's Corner, and he saw the sales were down. He wasn't getting enough front sales, so he pulled out the entire event. When you make a business transaction and an agreement, if it's not working out to your favor, you don't have a right just to bail on it, right? If I booked you, Rob, and we made a deal, and then I realized 2 days before it's not working out in my favor and bailed on you, that's not the right way to do business, right?
No, but I would rather have you do that than have me show up, do the work, and then short me on my money and then say I'm full of shit.
Well, yeah,
Right.
that's true. That's
Right,
true.
right. Mike, I wanted to get this in. He's been quoted as saying that you were not worth what you were charging. And listen, before you answer, everybody knows on this show that you're like one of my, and this is my stupid alleged markout moment, Mike. So, but here it is. And I said it to you when you were in studio with us a few years back. You're one of my favorites, and there's multiple reasons for it. When I hear somebody say that you're not worth whatever it is you're charging, knowing what I briefly got to know from you and the vibe I got off watching your career, you never struck me as somebody that was about yourself, but you knew that you were centered. There are a few people that are centered. I know I'm going into the deep end here, but it really, really bothered me when he said that you were not worth what you were charging. How does that make you feel? Because as watching your entire career, I'm like, what are you talking about? RVD's not the kind of person that'll fucking take advantage of you. So what the fuck went on here? Why would he ever say something like that about you, that you're not worth what you're charging?
Well, I mean, listen, I think these are one of those things where, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And let me explain. If I charge Bobby, say, $500 to appear and do a signing, and he can only make $300 off of me, then I'm not worth the $500. That's an easy equation. I agree. So don't fucking book me.
Right.
Now, you know, now the promoters in this business and the draw depends on so many variables. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
a lot of times, like what Bobby would say was like, well, they had this and this going on in town. We didn't know. A lot of times it is. They got the homecoming. They got a concert. You know, we're up against other things. And that a lot of times that's an excuse why some of the wrestling cons are slower. But a lot of times it's also in the promotion and how much the promoters are getting the word out there, you know, because a lot of times when I'm at the conventions, people will make it to the front of my line and say, Rob, I didn't know you were going to be here. And I mean, that's, you know, that happens like a lot. But anyway, I never would say, hey, I'm worth paying this much. All I say is my time to me is worth this much. If you want to pay me less, no, my time is worth that much. So
Right.
if you know how to make money off of it, like when people pay me to wrestle, you know, first off, they don't have 100 people in the crowd. They have a bigger show. Then they know how to make money off of selling photos of me. Maybe they got a DVD they sell afterwards. They can actually profit. And I stay busy enough with those kinds of bookings to where I ain't looking to get any busier. With the exception of one phone call that I made to Hunter in 2013, with the exception of that call, I've never picked up the phone to try to get work since like sometime in the early 90s. I always just go through offers.
RVD.
Rob, I know you mentioned it before, but I wanted to spell this last comment that you were actively interfering in the Fultons business by contacting Matt Riddle and ruining their booking with him.
No, that's their paranoia. I did see Matt this weekend. I hadn't seen him since that booking in Philly. That's the last time I've seen Matt Riddle. It's been a long time. I saw him there. That was where CJ Perry said that Dildo sexually assaulted her. And I was there while Mike from High Spots that runs the WrestleCon was trying to scold Dildo and try to get him to realize how serious this accusation was. And when I found out what it was about, I was like, are you serious? Like that's what's going on here? Like, oh my God, you are fucking horrible, dude. I just walked away because I didn't want to know all the details then. But that was like kind of like the end of our.
Well, can I ask you this one thing when it comes to that rumor? Is it true that Sonny Ono punched him so hard that Dildo shit his pants?
The way I understand it, it wasn't Sonny. It was some of the other boys, and they pushed him in some bushes, and he shit his pants. Yeah. And he called his dad and said, I'll shit myself, Dad. And he told his dad this story that he was getting jumped by these people. He didn't know who they were. His dad was all ready. What? I'm going to come down there. Like getting him out of bed in the middle of the night. And one of the other vendors that was right there listening to the phone call and stuff called Bobby right afterwards and told him, Bobby, that's not what happened at all. You know, and settle down, because Bobby was coming down red-faced, ready to spit on somebody.
Ready. All right, Rob, we're going to let you go. We want to thank you. If you could send some final messages to the great Fulton family from the great Rob Van Dam.
Oh, boy.
You know what? Jaron is cool. I like Christy. I like Uncle Jackie. The other two, they've offended me beyond what I can imagine getting over, just by thinking that just like everybody else that they accuse of lying, that I'm just going to take it. But as I've explained here, I actually really care, and my actions always defend my integrity. That's one of the things that makes me different. Let the accusations come forward. There aren't any. I tell on myself. What, you're going to say I smoke pot? That was one of his accusations. They're both two peas in a pod. Bobby is just as bad as Dildo. That's why Dildo is the way that he is. I got so much dirt to put over their heads and keep them buried, but I'm going to save the heavy dirt for when they try to pop their ugly heads back up out of the scarecrow corpse that you're in right now, Bobby.
That's a pretty stern warning. That's a stern warning.
And by the way, I love the comments from people like, I've never seen RVD this pissed. Like he's raging, like, me being really serious. That's about as pissed as I'm gonna get.
Well, Jimmy, first of all, Rob, thank you again for taking a time out on this Thursday. And thank you. One thing we do want to clear with you, though, I knew it did bother me.
I will be in Indianapolis, yes, this weekend. Wrestle Cup.
Uh-oh. Will you be making an appearance with some other thing?
Is that not what you were going to ask? Oh
no, I was actually gonna say to you on your show, you played our video with Dylan, and you said, we were what was the word, Jimmy?
He was set up. All right, can I jump in here?
Go ahead.
The video that we got sent you were done on some other channel that I had never heard of, but that's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. I'm not here to take shots. This is about you and what's been.
No, I'll answer to it. I'll answer anything. I'm accountable.
The guy set it up because we did have Dildo Hines on one time, and I've never liked him to begin with, but look, he was a guest that night, so we asked him questions. That's all we did. That's our job.
I saw it. That was my response to it. But my response to it when I did mention what happened on my podcast, because Dildo was using my name as a reference, saying, RVD don't need the money. Why would he work for me if we weren't honest? Or whatever he said.
Right, but you got set up though in the short that was sent to me. Let me just explain myself if I can.
Okay.
And you got set up the way they set up the video, basically, because he was a guest and we were asking questions, and you used the word that we were placating because this guy prompted you. I understand this already. I'm just trying to tell you how it felt for me when I was watching it, because the guy that asked you the question called the name of our show, Monte and the Pharaoh, compared us to morning DJ radio hosts, which is basically the Howard Stern equivalent, if you understand what I'm getting at. And, just because we ask questions, it just bothered me. You said we were placating, and I was like, oh my God, Rob Van Dam rules. I was like, what? He got set up, am I like wrong?
Oh, you do, guys. You know that. You do.
Yeah.
You string the guy along, you play the heel sometimes. Sometimes you get a little douchey. I seen you guys doing it with Tony Atlas, like, oh, the daughter shouldn't have done that, right? Like I see, I know how you guys are.
Wait a minute, man. Are you trying to say that we're acting?
You think this is a gimmick? You think this is a gimmick? It is.
All right. Sorry. Well, that being said, That being said, we've got a feud we got to carry
New
on now.
Yorkers, that's what it is.
We got to
Thank you,
carry on
sir.
our
Thank
feud
you.
with Conan now. That's our new feud, by the way.
It's true.
Just so everyone knows, is on the same page, we're putting Bad News Bobby and the Hines crime family on the shelf.
That's it. And that's why you're on Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Again, Rob Van Dam, Hall of Famer, ECW legend, and one hell of a guy. Jimmy, you want to send us out, please?
You've been watching Monte the Pharaoh with RVD. See you, Dildo.
Thompson is Bobby Fultons. Your buddy talking there. I just want to let you know, I tried to tell Dylan what a little bit low down piece of shit you was from the get-go. But we found out again and again and again. You're fucking banned permanently from any fucking shows. I see you around, it will be a fucking problem. You feel me? I hope you do. You're nothing but a fucking thief. Come around those shows, try to steal autographs and shit. You're a low-life, egg-sucking, cock-sucking motherfucker, and that comes straight out of the Bible. You feel me? Goodbye. You come around.